I can't speak without swearing, and I've only got my grade 10, and I haven't had a cigarette since I've been arrested, and I'm ready to fucking snap. So I'd like to make a request under the People's Freedom of Choices and Voices Act that I be able to smoke and swear in your courtroom. Because if I can't smoke and swear, I'm fucked. And so are all these guys.
You're listening to Calling the Audible.
My first order of business is to tell the prosecutor to shut the fuck up and wipe that stupid fucking grin off his face because it's distraculating my case.
The official Division III podcast for Flag Plus football.
You're not buying any of this bullshit, are you?
Sit down, please, sir, or you'll be in contempt of court, and watch your language.
Yeah, lady, sit the fuck down. The truth fucking hurts, doesn't it, you son of a bitch?
Booby sub booby, Ricky.
Okay.
Whatever.
With your hosts, Brett Callender and Pease Delarees.
Defense rests. Everybody can fuck off. Except you. So I didn't mean you, but
Thank you,
guys,
Richard.
Him.
You may be seated.
You guys get the fuck out of the way, please.
Hi everyone, you are listening to and perhaps watching Calling the Audible, the official Division III podcast. Hi GM.
Hi.
Wonderful for you to make it through this wonderful snowy mess. If you're watching, of course, you know that you are watching at www.theunclemikeshow.com. If you don't know that, I don't know how you found us at all. And we are in the Coast to Coast studios. Remember that the Uncle Mike Show starts at 9 p.m. tonight, where he interviews guests. I am in the studio with GM Colethris, Mr. Collect Your Ass. You can follow him at GMCole44. You can follow me at PeasFPF. And of course, if you want to tweet the show live, you can tweet it at EagleFPF.
He does work.
He does work once in a while. And actually, you know what? Especially Div 3, we tend to get a lot of live tweets. I love that. Send your input. This show is for you after all. GM, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I had a tough loss in D3, no less. For anyone who's actually really wondering, Les Buddies are for real. They have an incredible defense, solid quarterbacking as well. There's not much else to say.
Yeah, I agree. It's and you know what? Like, I hate to say it because honestly, Leon Etier had a great season last season with Les Buddies, but they just seem to be on another level now. So whether or not it's a huge upgrade or not, it's definitely an upgrade. They look good. It seems like it's a group that's almost been working together forever. You know what I mean?
In other news as well, I know it's not this division, but it's still FPF. We almost broke a record. We almost finished the game 0-0, despite the fact that both teams had actual rosters. And that would have been disappointing if we did.
That would have been. I feel bad for the scorekeepers and referees in that game. Other than that, I just want to go into some of the games. One of the games we have predicted several times over the course of the past 2 weeks was Past Our Prime versus the Texas Bearmans. Past Our Prime skating by on thin ice, 26-24. Craig O'Brien struggled throwing 3 interceptions, but Texas Bearmans could not capitalize. What do you think was the cause of that in this game?
Yeah, I did mention earlier on, thank you, Eagle, for bringing it up, that Texas Bearmans should not take Past Our Prime lightly.
It doesn't seem like they did, though. They did show up to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of it also had to do with the fact that Hinsley Adams has played with this core before. Mm-hmm. Having that input, also being a fantastic rusher in the league, and keeping that consistent pressure on Craig O'Brien limits those second and third reads that he's usually so good for. And they've got there's great athletes. Luca Pichet with 2 interceptions, Taquan John with 1 as well. I think when those reads weren't there, the athleticism of Texas Bearmans really came through over Past Our Prime. But in the end, Past Our Prime, the experience prevailed. Scott Moranowitz was brought in to play in this game as well. Huge pickup. I played with him in Division 4. Definitely know that talent firsthand.
Absolutely. And Scott Moranowitz putting up 3 touchdowns in this game. What is it about Scott Moronowitz's game that makes him so difficult to cover?
I think it's just, you look at his size, he's rather diminutive in size, but runs crisp routes, can definitely get open at a moment's notice.
Is that a pun? Because he plays for Crisp?
No, it wasn't.
Well done, though.
Thank you.
Very smooth.
And he has great hands as well, just knows how to get open in the end zone.
Sure. Adam Sinagra, quarterback for Texas Bearmans, moved the ball well, but did not punch it in when it counted. That is the kiss of death in the higher divisions, as we saw in this game. What else was it, though? Was there anything else? Was it just that? Was it just the struggles to get the ball in the end zone?
As you see, we mention it season after season, but it becomes more important for new teams to know. Don't take those extra points lightly. It's really a big deal, and as you see, a game can come down to extra points. Finals have been decided by extra points. That convert for 1 or 2, or even making the choice between the two, is huge.
Absolutely. past their prime. I know we've disagreed on them so far.
Ad nauseum.
And I'm going to do it again, I'm pretty sure. And as well, later in the show as well. But they still have yet to beat a team with a winning record.
Is that their fault?
That is not their fault, but is that an indicator of how good they truly are?
I think it's an indicator of their schedule thus far. We won't know one way or the other until we see them go up against one of the top dogs in the division, either Buddies or some of the other teams. If we bring up their schedule now for past our prime, coming up, they have Mongoose, they have OTF, they have VPC, Monstars, Predators, and Sudded. So for the most part, you do see a couple teams in here that are struggling. You have some middle of the pack teams.
I see all of these teams have the capability to beat past their prime, just in terms of like Mongoose, for example, a team not really playing up to their potential, but a team that could win on any given week.
Without a doubt.
OTF, a team we're still not sure about, but look, they have a good record.
I think of these teams here, the team that might do it, and honestly, if you ask me to bet on it, I think that they will. The team that will upset this team will be the Monsters.
I was going to say Monsters as well. That's the one where they haven't put it all together yet, but there's some awesome pieces on that team, and they're going to get better and better as the season goes on. BD Bandit's starting to put it together. Winning another big game.
Great game. This
one over the Bengals, 28-25. BD Bandits get it done by spreading the ball around. 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. Casey Cook, Niall Anderson, Perry Silverman, and Steve Sander all getting in on the action. This is fairly prototypical for this team. Like in week out, they don't seem to have a star. Will this be able to carry them through week in, week out, or will they need someone to really be able to step it up?
I think this is all that's necessary for this team so that defenders can't key in on that one guy who you really need to pick up, as we've thought of in previous seasons. Furthermore, this, for those who don't really know what's gone on, this game leads back to last season as well, where these two teams faced off. The Bengals, or then Big TDs, won that game in a huge beast game. There was a lot of chirp between those teams, both last year and this year, and then they lost it by default, going over the cap. This time around, it was very heated, and BD Bandits were able to come out ahead.
Okay. We see now the Bengals now fall to 1-3. What's wrong? It's a good roster. It's a good team. A lot of guys who've played forever and have had success forever. What's going on this season?
I think it's just key drops right now. I mean, it's the execution as well. All their games have been close. They've played top-tier teams. It seems like when Bengals have the ball and the game is on the line, they can't make that key play.
For sure. The Brotherhood pick up their first win against Les Bleus Blancs Noirs in a score of 48-18. We saw this game was close at the half, where the Brotherhood led 24-18. Now, was this a case of adjustments by the Brotherhood, or did it just, I don't want to use, the term choke, let's say, because I don't think that's necessarily the case, but was it just maybe Minton Tat, in his inexperience, not able to manage the game well, and then the game just sort of spiraled out of control?
I would think it's a mix of both. Going into this as well, you see that the Brotherhood have made key additions as well. You see the influence of Gianni Satino, bringing in Moy McDonald, bringing in Devin Stewart, both McGill players, very strong. Kenny Bai as well. You see the depth of this roster is really starting to grow. I don't know if it's going to continue because of the fact that Gianni Satino has just gotten a job in New York City. I don't know if he'll even be playing out the rest of the season.
That makes things very interesting.
That does make things very interesting. However, I mean, you see here, Kwesi Gordon-Mall really able to keep Minton Tat from buying time with his feet. He only had one attempt for 17 yards. Very big here for them.
The other thing to keep in mind is Minton Tat's actually playing injured. He doesn't have the mobility that he's known for, so I think that didn't help as well. He's really great at buying time and just being able to take off and run. And if you're hurt, if you're healthy, getting away from Kwesi Gordon-Mall is tough as it is.
Without a doubt.
But when you're hurt, it's damn near impossible.
And speaking of not having the mobility that you're known for, I think this will be the only game ever where we'll see Gianni Satino with a 40-yard run for a touchdown.
I don't know how that happened. Like were there like landmines on the field, or it kept going off and defenders kept taking bullets? Like, what was it? I don't know. Gianni Satino not really known for running, but you know what, dude? One run, 40 yards. Run, Forrest, run. Moy McDonald. We have not talked about him, but he had 1 TD in his first game, 3 in this game. Is he that piece that was missing for Brotherhood early in the season?
For sure. I mean, he's a player. He plays for McGill. He plays on Flag Football Fantasy in Division 2, for those who pay attention to the other divisions. Very, very solid player. Great hands. Breakneck speed as well. I think that when you think of the Brotherhood, you think right away of Omar Jackson and Jamal Gittins. And what happens is that those two will distract and pull away the key defenders, take away the number 1 and number 2 defender. And as you see here, Moy, 5 catches for 3 touchdowns. I mean, it just pays dividends. When you're covering what you think to be the best receivers, Moy will just eat you up. Absolutely.
Predators eat up zero after 27-14 in a game not nearly as close as the score would indicate. We see here the Predators win with the hobbled James Floriani. Will they continue to do this so long as James isn't healthy, or will that injury bother him as they face teams that are capable of scoring more points?
For the most part, he's been staying in the pocket. There's not much that's really affecting him. He's not on defense as well as often, so I don't think it's as big an issue right now.
That helps them even if he's healthy. Not him not being on defense.
I get that.
Yeah.
I was letting it sink in with everyone else at home.
Because he's not good on defense. Want to make sure I got through.
Yeah, just even a comment from Eagle as well. Lovelace, Lowe, Noel, Burnett, and SBB, just a stacked receiving core all the way across. Maxime Giroux, a great tackle player as well, not included in that list.
And this is also a roster with, I don't know if all these players are eligible the same week, but it's a team that has Jean Valet as well.
I think this is either one of the first games we've seen Darnell Lovelace in this season, but for the most part, this is a stacked team from top to bottom. I really like how they've been playing so far, and I'm surprised that it got this out of hand with players like Matt Kerouac, like Antonio Lani in this game.
I disagree, though, because it's a team that can score. If we look 9 for 23 by Antonio Lani, GM, fix our dude. What's he gonna do? How does it get better for him at this point? And like the second season for a new quarterback is known as like a poison pill because you know you're better, you've learned a lot, but
you come in more confident.
You're still not at that level that you need to be necessarily, but you're better than last season, so it's super frustrating. So like, what's it gonna be for Antonio Lani?
I think what needs to be done for Lani right now, he needs to call plays that really reflect his capabilities. So if he struggles reading the field on deep plays, really go with those triple slants, those all hooks, really just decimating short and then working from there. I think it has to reflect the strengths of his receivers as well.
All right.
And if nothing else, try and score quickly and put your defense back on the field because you know that's where the bread and butter in this team lies.
Absolutely. Jacob Burnett, I just wanted to toss a quick shout out there. Had a huge impact on the game, intercepting the ball twice in a game where the defense is to reign supreme and where Zio Frato can't afford to give up extra possessions. That's a huge impact, and we saw it in the final score. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to bet on ridiculous things once again.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
Returned to Calling the Audible. Unfortunately, it's no longer a con-free zone as Mo Khan joins us. You're, of course, watching at www.theunclemikeshow.com. Remember that The Uncle Mike Show is at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern tonight, or thereabouts. You are watching us at our new home this season at the Coast to Coast Studios. A wonderful home so far. We've been taken care of by Uncle Mike and so on. GM, you can be followed at
GMKOLE44.
And if you want to tweet the show live, you can tweet at our wonderful producer, Eagle, at EagleFPF. For those who want to follow me, remember that follow me on Twitter is safer than follow me home. You can follow me at PeasFPF. This is something we tried a couple weeks ago. I liked it. I don't care if anyone else did. Rayan didn't like it, but whatever. We call this section Degenerate Gamblers.
Do we have a Rayhan-related bet coming?
I can make one up. How's this one? We'll start with a Rayhan-related bet. How many articles will Rayhan write since being inducted into the Hall of Fame? Plus or minus one?
That's a question, not a bet. But
a bet.
I'm going to go with...
Plus or minus one?
I'm going to go with plus.
You're going to go plus one? I will go minus one, obviously, because...
MK wants to vote.
I think it's an early
MK
retirement.
is available here to vote and to receive any elastic wristbands if you have any. We're at 5 right now.
Monsters, DK, yeah, the whole bunch. How about this for Star Wars? He has a streak of INTs going on here.
Okay.
2 games in a row.
That's fairly unrelated, but that's okay. We have... so now, here, first team to win a game. Rude Boys or Lassos?
If you bring up both their schedules at the point, I think that Rude Boys...
That's an excellent stalling technique, by the way. I like that.
It is. I'm waiting for Eagle to take care of it. Because he asked us in advance, is there anything we need for the segment? And we both said...
Nah, we're good.
No. So Rude Boys, first of all, they play Texas Bearmans, Mongoose, Monstars, Still CRA, Meta Mayhem, and Prestige Worldwide. I don't think they're going to be able to do it against Texas Bearmans, so that we'll have to wait at least a week. Looking at La Sauce, they have BD Bandits, Le Buddy, Los Luchadores, Sea Assassins, Moose, and Zio Frate. On that, I think that...
Both have incredibly difficult schedules.
Both have incredibly difficult schedules. Eagles highlighting the Moose game. I think, though, that the Rude Boys might have Still CRA before Lassos have Moose.
Moose, by the way, minus 50 point differential, 2-2. It's been a fun season.
Kind of similar, a stat I noticed in D1. DK, 1-3, plus minus 17.
Bizarre. First... lose a game. Sorry.
First to win a game.
Yeah.
So my vote is Rude Boys.
I'm going to say Lassos. I spot a game up there against Los Luchadores. I think that's the one, if not sooner. First to lose a game. Pasta Prime or Wild Boys?
Wild Boys. I think that we examined earlier the Past Our Prime schedule. You said, when are they going to play a team that's indicative of the talent of D3? They've played a lot of teams that are struggling. They have a relatively lax schedule, so just on that alone, I'm going to go with...
I don't know why. The same way I've been hating on Pasta Prime this season, you've been hating on Wild Boys. I think it's the opposite. I think it's Pasta Prime, just because I've kept hating on them. Honestly, no, I think that... like I said, they haven't played a team with a winning record so far this season. I think their schedule gets a little bit tougher. It's related to a question you asked me in one of my 5 plays till halftime earlier this season. Which team I thought would struggle in the second half of the season? I think it's going to be Pasta Prime. Not that I think they'll struggle by much. I think they'll lose a couple of games, but they'll end up with a formidable record, and I think they'll be the first to lose.
I saw that Wild Boys are playing Les Exist, and provided that Hugo Henderson is actually there, because he wasn't there last week, and they still had a great game, lost it just at the end. But provided Hugo Henderson is there, I think that the Wild Boys are going to get lulled into a false sense of security and get surprised in that game.
Antonio Lani plus minus 25 TDs on the season. He has 11 thus far.
Plus. I think that this is just a hiccup for him. There's definitely times it's not going to... Plus minus 25, that means averaging 3 TDs a game. It's absolutely manageable. It's something that he can definitely do. I think it's there.
I hope so, because I like the dude. This is another team we've disagreed on from the start, and I'm going to disagree once again. Again, I chose questions that I specifically thought of your answers before choosing them. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say it's going to be close, but I think this is a tough season for Antonio Lani. I think his third season, he comes a long way, so I'm excited to see that, but this season is going to be a tough one. Christian Sarantola plus minus 650 rushing yards on the season.
I'm going to go with minus on this one. I don't think it's going to be that much at all. He's getting more comfortable.
He's up over 300 already in his 4 weeks in. All right, you stand by it. Sounds good. I'm going to say plus. I think Brocation's better when Sarantola runs, better when he has his space. One of the true dual threat quarterbacks. I'm going to say plus on the 650 yards, but like 652. Let's say exactly 652.
Ooh.
If I'm right, you owe me a smile.
Paid in advance.
Who will lead VPC in reception at the end of the season? The man with the best name in the league, Dan Dick, or John Laristis?
I think this is a trap question that you're trying to lull me into, just dangling the higher division talent in front of me.
It's exactly.
Luckily for you, I've played outdoors in practice games, in scrimmages, in touch with VPC. I know how they work. I know how they're chemistry based. Robbie loves going to Dan. He doesn't even need to be looking at him. Robbie's the king of no passes, especially to his center. And I think that on that alone and their chemistry and how long they've been playing together, it's Dan.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and say John Laristis. I'm pleasantly surprised and impressed with how quickly he's gone about developing within the system. I think he works great with VPC. And like you said, he's the skinny white dude nobody likes to cover for whatever reason. Gets open. Great chemistry with quarterbacks in general, and with who better than with Robbie Robinson? So I think it's going to be John Laristis. Simon Dagenet plus minus 50% completion percentage on this season. I think this might be the first question we agree on.
I think. Are you going to say plus?
I'm going to say minus.
Plus.
Really?
Yeah, I think that a lot of this doesn't have to do with Simon's reads. It has to do with his actual receivers making the catches.
This is lack of talent. Please don't block the camera.
Eagles.
How long have you been doing this?
Eagles trying to make a point here.
Yeah, he actually messaged me today to go fix stats from scorekeeping, and I said, if I see your completion percentage over 50%, I know you're changing your own stats.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
There we go.
Does he have back-end access? Because I can win this bet on site alone. Honestly, I think it just comes down to having his receivers catch the pass when the time comes. If you're already 4 games in, you know how he throws. Adapt to it.
No, I don't see it. I think, honestly, he's the weak spot in that team. I think, basically, just like he is in his own family, he'll be the outcast of that team by the end of the season. And I think he'll end up with about a 48% completion percentage. Ryan Aridi, in terms of his personality, his mental positioning, is he more left shark or right shark?
He's definitely a right shark. He's very calm, cool, collected. He doesn't go off the rails. He doesn't improvise. He's very, very methodical. Great rusher, knows the game, very smart. So on all that alone, he's a right shark. He doesn't.
I think left
make
shark.
things up.
I'm saying left shark just because you know what, rushing's more of an art than it is a science. I think him being the new photographer for the league has really helped him build that artistic sensibility. I think if there were a guy who I think was a left shark, be Ryan Aridi.
I need to read these things that you say on air back to you at a later time.
When I'm sober.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be difficult. Final thoughts, Brent. I still haven't changed that in my script.
Final thoughts, Brent. Not many.
Not many. Awesome. Just like real Brent. Do we have time to do any picks tonight, Eagle?
Yes.
All right.
Very quick.
Why are we watching
your own
ourselves?
show? This is very confusing.
Kearney McDoug said it's not working, so...
So, Kernan, you don't know how to use a computer, and Eagle, this is confusing. Can you please get the games up so we can actually do our jobs? Worst producer in the history of life.
Although we can now say that we have watched our own show live.
I know. I'm kind of freaked out, to be honest. The 7-second delay is driving me nuts. Okay, so we have Brocasian versus Genie 3D. In 3D.
In 3D. Because
actually,
life is in 3D.
Definition.
Mo is snoring, by the way, and
Again.
I'm very happy to hear that. I think that provided Genie 3D actually bring a roster with a QB and don't play musical chairs, they have a decent shot. But I don't think that there's going to be anyone who can really contain Christian Cherentola and lock down all of those receivers as well. So I'm going to go with Brocasian on this one.
Musical Chairs is an awesome childhood game, and I say Brocasian.
Monsters.
If we agree. Monsters, Les Bleus Branlard.
Monsters, not even close. I think that just the fact that they have the deep ball alone, Rod Mashtub is really coming into his element. The Monsters' defense is one of the better defenses in D3 right now, so everything's stacked in their favor.
I don't like the fact that we were in agreement, fake word, again. I'm going to say Monsters because I think Les Bleus Branlard, as much as I think they're better than most people give them credit for, I still don't think they're there quite yet. Predators versus Los Luchadors. I made it rhyme.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a trap game for Predators. I think that Los Luchadores are going to come in with a game plan, lull them into a false sense of security. I'm going Luchadores on this one.
I think Predators, just because it'll be one of the last games they have on this run. I think a couple losses are on the docket ahead for them, but I don't think there's the one. I say Predators. Texas Bear Men versus Rude Boys. I always mispronounce the name on purpose.
I alluded to it earlier on in the show. I think Texas Bearmans are going to win this one.
Texas Bearmans are one of my favorite teams this season. They're fun. They're exciting. I like it. They've developed in four weeks like I would never expect any team to develop. I'm going to say Texas Bearmans. Bengals versus Solid. You can't pick it. I will say Solid. I'm really not happy with what I'm seeing from Bengals. I think this might be a turnaround game for Solid.
We're really not happy with what we're seeing from Solid.
No, but I think
both teams are 1-3.
I agree, but I think this is the game that Solid starts to turn around, and we see a decent second half run. Maybe it's just because you have wonderful eyebrows. Next game on docket is BD Bandits versus Les Os.
BD Bandits, I think just the fact that they've beaten higher tier teams than Les Os right now, regardless of the fact that Les Os are struggling.
I don't know what's wrong with Les Os, but until I'm able to figure it out, I'll keep picking against them. BD Bandits. Past Our Prime versus Mongoose.
Past Our Prime. As much as I like the chemistry and the way that Mongoose play together, I think that when it comes down to it, Mongoose are going to give up that one key turnover. That'll be the difference.
I want to pick Mongoose so badly in this game because I love Mongoose. I love their style. They're great human beings, which is not, you can't say that about a lot of people in this league.
This is what I like about Pease. He'll sacrifice his ego in order to still be right.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with Past Our Prime because I don't like the way Mongoose have been playing. But you know what? Past Our Prime, all the credit to you. You'll pick up a win this one as well. Brotherhood versus Sea Assassins. What do you think? Depends, I guess, who's on the Brotherhood roster. But what do you think?
I think that I see Sea Assassins winning this one in a bit of an upset.
I don't think it's much of an upset. No, just because Sea Assassins don't have the same brand power, I think they're a better team and they win the game. Top to bottom, Sea Assassins are a better team, they win it. Snatchers versus Still Cray.
I'm going to go with Snatchers on this one just to boost the bet and get a bit more completion percentage for Simon Dashna.
Yeah, I don't know. Still Cray is another team I can't figure out. I don't know why they're struggling the way they are. I like them, but Snatchers will snatch this one from the jaws of victory. If that is the expression. Wild Boys versus Lazy Gist. Here comes your hate. Lazy Gist. I want to say Wild Boys. I'm a believer. I think they're as good as claimed. KGP champs who are not playing as champs versus the regiment who are playing
Regiming.
They're regiming. I hope you like regiming too.
I'm going to go with the regiment on this one. I think they have a deeper roster from top to bottom.
Bearskins versus VPC. This is going to be a great game, by the way. Game of the week if this was a game of the week for Div 3.
Bearskins have a very, very good defense. They have a lot of players who really fly under the radar, and I think it's going to take VPC by surprise.
I'm going to take a shower after this because I don't like agreeing with you this much. Bearskins, I'm impressed. They have flaws. I don't think VPC is built to take advantage of those flaws, so I say Bearskins will win this one. Labor Days versus Prestige Worldwide is another awesome game.
This one's going to be tight, but I think that just the depth at Buddies, D1 caliber quarterback, incredible defense, Buddies in this one.
This is the anti-Mocon pick because we both can agree that despite the fact that Prestige Worldwide have been around forever, I think Labor Days super impressed. They look like they've been born in Div 3. You know what, guys? Keep it up. Zio Efrate versus Meta Mayhem.
Zio Frate in this one.
I don't see it, dude. They're not going to score points. Alex Holloway on one leg put up 31 points.
You're on one leg, so you're putting one of the best rushers in the league up against an injured quarterback.
Yeah,
because I can basically go all out and knowing that Alex Holloway can't move.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think Holloway, first of all, lines up 20 yards away from the rush, from the snapper. Second of all, he has the arm to be able to do that. And thirdly, because I think my third point, I don't think Gio Fratel will score more than 14 points in this game because of the other bet that we placed. So in order for that bet to be right, I need Gio Fratel to lose and not score more than 14 points. OTF versus Moose. I can't pick this one. Go ahead.
I'm a little bit on the fence on this one.
Nice.
Thank you. In all honesty, I think that OTF have been playing really, really well. But something tells me that this is a trap game, and Moose have something up their sleeve. So I don't.
No, we never have anything up our sleeve. I promise.
So with that in mind, if I'm saying if I should trust you, I'm gonna go with OTF then.
Fair. I'm gonna go for one this week. Make it real quick, just because the Eagles been bothering us that we're going over our time limit, which we're pretty much on time. Anyway, related to the Hall of Fame debate that's been going on Facebook, I still stand by it. I still think that at some point we need to see lower division players getting in. Someone asked the question, have you seen any, let's not call them scrubs, but any role players from Div 1 and 2 getting in? No, but because the talent pool is so small, and because I think there are a category of players who, let's say, move up to maximum Div 3 just because they want to keep playing with their friends. They don't want to go through trouble of going out and recruiting and try and wanting to play multiple teams. They just want to go out once a week, kick it with their friends, have a good time. You know what? I think at some point we're going to need to let in stars from lower divisions. I still stand by that point. It's something I'm going to disagree with many players in this league for many years to come. Marco Messi-Otra, remember I'm right, baby. That's it for our show. GM, thanks for joining us. Mo Khan, stay home next time. Eagle Master Control, thank you for everything that you do. But as I told you, the show was going to finish on time. Thanks everyone for watching on www.theunclemikeshow.com. This has been Calling the Audible, and thank you all, of course, for letting me be myself.